Welcome back to the program. It's still Daybreak Africa, and we're reaching you from the Lagos studios of KAFTAN Television. Now, what are we talking about this morning? We're talking about the rise in cases of domestic violence, and that has come up regarding some of the videos we've seen online lately, as some husbands treat their wives, and how some parents as well treat their children. Also, how some wives treat their husbands. There are varying cases and varying reports of domestic violence across the country and globally. To discuss with us this morning is Esther Agbo. Good morning, Esther.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Well,
it's good to have you on the program.
Thanks so much.
Finally. Okay, straight to our topic today. That's the rise in cases of domestic violence. Now, there are a lot of reasons why people feel that there's domestic violence in the country. Some have tagged or pegged religion as the reason. Some have pegged insanity as the reason, or probably mental health issues and a lot of other things. But then when you look at it holistically, a lot of people want to say that women are the most affected by the results of domestic violence. But personally, I do not agree with that. But let me hear your thoughts on the group that has been most affected by domestic violence. Is it the children? Is it adults? Is it female? Is it the male side? Is it whatever? Just any, whichever one you feel that, whichever group rather, that you feel that they have suffered more when it comes to domestic violence.
Thank you so much. Domestic violence is something that has been on the increase of recent, and then I would say yes, it's true. Women are always at the receiving end. I think we are the most affected.
Right.
Yes, because you will see, we have different cases of husbands maltreating their wives, women beaters, and all that. So women are they are always on the receiving end. Some peg the religion, yes, because normally I feel the
man is the head of the home, and then some men take advantage of that and say, oh, I'm the head, I'm the boss, and I can do anyhow, I can do whatsoever it is to you.
Exactly. And we ladies, I think it's high time we start speaking out, although yes, some people are already speaking out, while some are still hiding under the like, oh, what will people say, what will people say? Okay, let's look at this case of this Minister Osinachi. I think last week makes 1 year she okay, in that case now, it was very obvious, like everybody knows about it. The family is aware, the pastors, everyone knows about it, even though the husband is still insisting that she died of chest pain. But the family can still attest that yes, there was atom of domestic violence in the house. It is something she should have come out to be like, oh no, I can't take this anymore. At least there was even a time they said she left the home and all that. But she still insisted, and her case will be tagged to be like traced to that of religion. Because you'll be like, oh, I'm a gospel singer, I'm this in the church.
What example would I make of myself if I leave my husband?
And I can remember during the case of this woman, this social media influencer that they freeze. I don't know if you know you came on live, and then one other lady came to speak up that during her own time she was the head of the women leader in her church. I don't know. So she was in an abusive marriage,
but they asked her to stay.
Yeah, she has been thinking over it, thinking of like, how would they feel, a whole woman leader? What would people say? What would the Congress say? What would the pastor say? But it got to a point she couldn't take it again. She had to quit the marriage, and because of that, lo and behold, in the church they had to relieve her of her post in the church.
Was it even worth it? That's the question.
So that is part of the, as in, even though
the stigma that comes with it is enough for people to say, okay, let me just keep quiet.
To some extent, you will see that yes, they are also right, because people will really say a lot once they make that decision.
Do you really think that women should be bothered about all of this?
I don't think
in the face of your life being at stake, because I
don't need my life to be at stake for me to run from any form of violence.
I saw a video just this afternoon of a man beating his wife with belt.
Like, you know, you're beating a child. Like,
and the woman was still there. She was like this.
There are different cases. I know while I was growing up, there was this neighbor of mine that knew his wife down even when she's pregnant.
Wow.
Yes.
No, that's
he would tell her to kneel down and then carry something up.
Esther
even when
Ololade,
even customers
I
will
feel
come and
that's just cruelty, and I will not wait. This is my own personal opinion, and I'm speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for all women, although I would encourage all women to join my league, which is that I will not wait until it even asks for my life, until my life is at risk. Because personally, maybe because of the kind of household where I grew up, my dad only beat me on 3 occasions. And the last one was when I was like maybe 8 years old. And I remember my offense clearly. And up to today, I agree that those 3 occasions were worth the beating. Yes. And my mom has never, ever raised her hand on me. So I'm not even used to beating. And, you know, being that brilliant kid in school, when you're brilliant, you don't really get to be beaten in school as well. Yeah. So I'm not really used to beating. So even as friends, as we're here now, we're all ladies. We're talking, we're gisting. You know, you laugh. You laugh. You now do on my back. Until I will warn you, please don't laugh that. So I won't even wait. I won't let it get to the extent that you would start using belt on me or hit me with a bottle, that my life will be at risk for me to now decide that I need to walk away. No, you just have to, the most you will do is to even pretend to raise your hand at me. I think I'm going to walk out at that point because you've shown tendency of violence.
Yeah, that was what I wanted to say, talk about that. Majority of I think majority of these women would have seen the signs.
Exactly.
Or probably ignored.
Yes.
Those signs are there even from dating. Are there.
Because when you're dating someone and the person screams at you, like, okay, the person is stressed, you feel the person is stressed, and then you just unleash.
You see, the real signs don't show when the person is conversing with you. I believe the signs show when that person is conversing with someone who is lesser than them, that has no ties to them. Example, the waiter, the driver, exactly. The beggar on the street. Those people that has no, you see how they treat those people is the way they will treat you, the day that love has cleared out of their eyes.
Yes,
because in marriage, the reality is there are times that all those butterflies in your belly, it will look as if they are going on leave, maybe annual leave or something.
The thing is, just to buttress your point, yes, most ladies see the handwriting written boldly on the wall.
It's usually clear.
But I used to tag it like, you know, in our world now, we used to see women above 30 years that are not unmarried. We used to tag them like different names, body shaming them, and marriage shaming them, and all that. So most of these things, most of them, not all though, would be caused by desperation. Like, he will change. He will change. Let me just do so that we will get married.
At least I want somebody's name
it will change. And believe me, a woman beater is always a woman beater. It can never change.
Well, okay, make an example.
Let me set an example. There was a time, there's this friend of mine. Let me not call her name. There's this friend of mine that the guy she was actually dating, beat her, like always beat her blue black. Okay, they were dating, not married. They were dating. So when he beat her like that, maybe after some much begging, they come back together. Beat her, they come back. The beating I'm saying is it will beat her to the extent that she will start putting on shades. He will use his forehead to eat her lips.
Is it worth it?
Yes. The next morning you see her with a swollen lip and all that. So because I'm very close to her, then when maybe whenever he wants to beg her, they might maybe want to come through me or something like that. I said there was a time I met him in church. So we're discussing in church in front of the altar. This guy used the altar of God to swear to me that he will never touch her again. And in my mind, I was like, wow, this one is using the altar of God. That means it's very serious this time around. They got back together. I don't think it's up to 2 months. And he gave her another beating of her life. You see, so a woman beater is always, it can never change. So all those mentality that, okay, let's just we'll sort it out. When we get married, it will change. It will never happen.
Okay, I don't want us to just develop the conversation on married people too. I want us to take it a little bit into parenting. Well, my own experience is quite different, as I have said. But I know a cousin of mine that said her dad would beat her to the extent that she would have to be removing brooms from her skin, pecks of broom from our skin. And you want to ask yourself, does this really make a child better? Because most of the cruel people are the cruelest of people, if there's anything like that, of persons that I've met, there are people that have been abused while they were young. There are people that have been violated by domestically, maybe by their maids or by their mom or by their dad. Because many parents in Africa, especially Nigeria, feel that Nami Bonam,
I can do whatever
I like to that child. So let's look at it from the aspect of parenting. What can we do to stop this domestic violence?
You know, I feel that when you talked about family the other time, I wanted to say that there are some people that the way they were brought up, like you said, the person that was beaten and she has to remove broom from her body. Such person, when such person grows or has someone that is living with he or she, they feel that is the right thing to do.
Because that's the mentality with which they were raised.
They feel that let me beat this person. They feel that is the beating that will mold that person, that will change that person. So I think parents now, parenting in 21st century has changed.
Yeah.
The way we were brought up, we cannot bring up our children that
way. The same way.
Exactly.
We cannot.
With the way society is, you even get the most terrible results that you can imagine.
I have a 2-year-old that when I beat, the way he looks at me.
When you beat or spank.
Okay, spank.
I just want to be sure. It's two different things. You know, there's levels, yeah.
There are levels to the beating. Yes,
there's
sometimes
spanking,
I beat.
there's beating.
Sometimes I beat.
So?
You know, there are some things that a child will do and you'll be like, I will beat you.
But you know that social workers would agree that that's domestic violence. You have no excuse whatsoever.
Of course. You know, I had to stop. I had to stop, and then I had to tell myself, you know, I had to draw a plan for myself that today, no yelling. Try as much as possible not to yell. You know, I discovered that it was affecting him, a 2-year-old.
And another thing is that it affects the way the child sees you. Because
exactly.
you don't have, I believe that one of the reasons why a lot of fathers, when they grow old, they start complaining that the children are not taking care of me, they love their mom more than their dad. I was discussing with my husband, I think, some days ago, and he said, I'm not going to beat my children. And I said, what if I need you to beat them? He said, no, if you want to beat them, you have to beat them by yourself. He said he grew up in a place where his mom would be like, your dad will come back, this and that. And then when the dad comes back, the dad comes and lashes out at the children. And gradually, himself and his siblings were growing this kind of mini hatred, so to speak. Not like they hate the father, but they withdrew from the father. Whereas it's the mother that is instigating the father to actually beat them. So before you know, you lose that relationship.
You know, that was what I wanted to say. That with my 2-year-old, I realized that the way he relates with my husband is different.
Yeah.
From the way.
My husband does not spank him. When he does, it's like maybe like once in 3 months. But me,
regularly. Pow.
So I started to speak to myself, and I realized that even with my mom, the way he relates, I can be with my son and tell him, don't do that, don't do that. My son will still do it. But as soon as my mom is there and she tells him, stop it.
Instantly.
He will stop it instantly. So I started to speak myself that no, I cannot continue this parenting.
That's what I was saying. I don't even believe that beating a child can maybe discipline a child or stop the child from being doing whatever it is you don't want the child to do. Me, I believe if the more you beat a child, there will be it will come to a point where the child will get used to that beating. After it's not only beating.
Right. I remember a child like
the child won't even feel the pain. Or even if you beat
they get used to the pain. They are accustomed to
it. Give to the child just to used to and correct the child.
Then another thing is that when you make something too regular, there's something they call see finish. Yes, children also have the ability to. They have the ability to. I remember there was this boy in my church back then. His name was Quadri. He was like maybe 10 or 11 years old, and he was staying with his grandmother. The woman beats him anyhow, anywhere. They beat him to the extent that per beating, he can have like 3 different scars on his face, on his hand, on his body. And the boy now got used to it to the extent that when you beat Quadri, he would just yell, "Hey, have you seen the video of that boy that was crying? I was like, oh, and then that's exactly how Quadri behaves. And I'm not kidding. He's someone that his mom comes to church. She comes for weekly service every day. Because you know the apostolic church service is Monday to Sunday. So she comes every day and she comes along with him, his grandmother rather. Quadri, when you beat Quadri, after the beating, like someone that would take like 50 strokes of cane, 45, shoe, bottle, they use any and everything to beat him. But you know how that boy did in that video? Quadri would just cry. Ooh, you see the tears dripping, I just see him. And you're like, what? So at that point, my dad had to call the grandmother and say, woman, this cane has no effect on this child
at all. You have gotten used
to
it.
She now started bringing him to church regularly and realized that whenever my dad just says, Quadri, stop, it's going to stop.
It's going to stop.
Whereas she's going to yell from now till tomorrow and nothing would happen. So a lot of parents get carried away and think that, not that beating would not work, but when you make it...
There are other ways.
When you make it rare.
Exactly.
When you make it rare. For example, I said my mom never beat me. Or my dad beat me only 3 times.
My mom talks.
She would just call you and talk. I hated that talking anyways. My dad doesn't talk. He's more like the person that will just leave you for a while, let you do your thing until you make mistake, then he will now talk. So when he's talking, you've already made mistake. You can see that you've messed up. So it'll be like, you can see that you've already messed up. But on my mom does not wait for you to mess up. She just continues talking. And for me, because my mom always talked, I don't listen to her. But when my dad says, do it this way, don't do it like this, 1 second, it just needs to say it. He should just say the word, I would listen. So I think that parents get carried away with the method of punishment, because when you do it too consistently, it's not food. When you do it too much, the child gets used to it, and it affects the mental health of the child as well.
There are some children that instead of beating them, you can just there's a family of mine that she does this thing for her child and it really works. Instead of beating, she just send off the child to the room, no screen for 2-3 days. No watching.
You know, some children value some things more than other things. So you can punish them with those things that they value.
And you see the way the child is so remorseful, like, Mommy, I won't do that again. I won't do that again. And she has said that it's really, because she also started off with beating. And then she realized that we were already getting used to the beating. But then she had to change her ways and all of that. Right now, they are not in Nigeria. When they traveled out to the UK, the police actually almost arrested them because she yelled.
Can you imagine?
Because she yelled. So ever since, she was like, no, she will lock them up in their room.
There are numerous ways to punish a child, but when you do too much with domestic violence, you realize that some of these boys that you are raising, they're going to marry somebody's daughter. And those are the ones who end up becoming women beater, who end up becoming violent against girls and other people because they feel like beating is normal. It's like, I've met someone that said, what's the, I can beat my wife. If he said it in Yoruba, like, Tomo Bashi Aman Bawini, and I'm like, is your wife Omo's child? Which means that if a child does something wrong, we have to chastise the child. And I'm like, is your wife your child? What are you saying? And that's the mentality with which he was brought up. But I just hope that we as a people, because I feel like most of the work is with us, not the government this time around. But I don't know, do you have any closing remarks?
No. I wanted to add that another case is when a boy child is seeing the father always yelling or beating the mother, so you feel that's the right
normal
thing to do.
And I think, before we go, I think I need to say this, that sometimes this violence is not just by physical. Sometimes the words of our mouth really matters.
Some words are more hurtful.
Can send another person
They're like daggers.
You understand? So I think we just need to also watch that. So verbal abuse too is part of it. True. So you also need to watch it.
All right, viewers, that's how far we can go on this segment of Daybreak Africa. Thank you so much, Esther, for joining us.
Thank you.
We're not done with the production yet. We're not done with the program yet. We're going to quick break now. When we return, Daybreak Africa continues.